We're mobile. Take Fox Sports 1350 with you using iHeartRadio. It's the IE's home for sports. KPWK AM 1350, Riverside, San Bernardino. An iHeartRadio station.
Yeah, so again, we are live in the great city of Riverside at the iHeartRadio studios. Fox Sports AM 1350, brought to you by the good folks over at ThinkWise Credit Union. I am your host, Eternal.
And I am the one and only Coach B. You know, when it comes to Inland Empire Sports, you know the conversation starts and stops here. We're also streaming at foxsports1350.com and the iHeartRadio app. I know that sounds a little different, but, you know, we have to make sure that when the podcast comes back up, that we got it sounding crazy. So that's Eternal. I'm just telling you, just roll with the punches, man. But we'll make it work.
At any rate, big shout out to my guy, Anthony Tyson. Just let me know that we are going to get Serge Ibaka. That's what my man just told me right now. So
Serge Ibaka?
Exactly.
All right.
Because, you know, him and Kawhi got history. You know, I
did not know that.
You don't know, remember they were in the back of the Bentley, and he was like, "What it do, baby?" I did not know that. That was Serge
But
Ibaka.
you know what's funny is Montrez, you know who his agent is?
Who?
Rich Paul. So it all starts to make sense. What a tangled web we weave.
Well, he was saying, you know, he went on record early saying, like, hey, this is going to be an interesting day. So little did we know.
Yeah, what am I thinking about? Serge Ibaka, and he played in Toronto together.
Exactly.
What am I thinking about? Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, dude.
Well, how long has Serge been in the league now? Because I know him and
he's been in the league.
Harden to play together.
Oh yeah, because remember he was like back in OKC back in the day. So
you talk about somebody. I mean, talk to me a little bit. Again, it's Fox Sports 1350, Coach B and Eternal. Today we got a big show. We have our guy Eric calling from LA Times. We have the Riverside City Police Chief calling in.
Yes.
And then we have one of my guys. One thing you know me, I love Kias.
Yes.
You know I love me some Kias. We got 3 Kias in the family. We just added a new one. My daughter has a Kia. We have a Kia that we're going to give to my son BJ, and then my wife has one. But one thing about it I just lost my point.
Well, because we're going to have the dealer guy call in today.
Yeah, we're going to have the dealer call. It's all good. But the good thing about – go ahead.
No, please.
But you think about – this is what I was going to say. If you were a Seattle Super – I'm sorry.
Look at you.
If you were Oklahoma City – that was a jam. Right. But if you are a Oklahoma fan, how upset are you? Because you think about that team. Think about the team. You had Westbrook. You had Harden. And you had what's our guy?
Russell. What?
The guy. He's in New Jersey now. He won with Golden State.
I
can't even think of Durant. And you had Durant. Think about that. That was your team.
Well, you know, I mean, the thing about this, they still have a star over there because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a star. He's not like, I know you don't think he's not one of those names that pop out at you, but I'm here to tell you that this kid is going to be a star. You know, it's bad that like Chris Paul left because he was. Look at your face.
I wish we had the cameras. I know we're going to be on Fox Sports West.
I know.
I wish we had the cameras in here. So Kevin Durant,
Shai Alexander is
Russell Westbrook.
Look, you
and
right.
James Harden, and you're okay with we got Shai.
Well, I mean, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not, you know, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to give them some hope.
But we got Shai.
You know, because I know it's rough out there in Oklahoma. But, you know, I got Shai.
Yo, okay. Well, Shai.
I mean, but, you know, what's crazy about it is the small market teams are really being affected. And we've seen that right now. We're really starting to see everybody kind of power up. You know, like these small market teams, you know, they're going to struggle, like Sacramento, OKC.
One small market team got the best of the man who never lost kids.
Are you talking about Charlotte?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going to be the best of the 3. I said it when we were following that team in 15.
Well, we're going to have Eric on from the LA Times. We can ask him.
Yes.
You know, I'd be really anxious to see what he
never lost. You know the jacked up thing, man. It was a meme of a guy all frowned up. Yeah. It's a meme of a guy all frowned up and staring. And he said it's the way the LeVar looks at Jell-O at Christmas.
Oh man, no, they murdered up. Oh, they did Jell-O so bad. Oh, poor Jell-O.
But Jell-O was I think he was supposed to be on OKC's G League team.
He is on there.
Yes. He's going to be on their G League
team. So he signed the NBA contract.
Exactly.
It's just not.
I mean, the odds of making it to the league. You think about this, LeVar.
Come on now.
The odds of making it to the NBA are none and none. This guy had 3 kids. 2 out of 3 were drafted in the league. What are the odds of that?
No, you know, for a lot of people, because he was the he was, he took a lot of heat, and for good question. I mean, for good reason. LeVar had a whole lot to talk about. Was always, really, we saw this at our All-Star game. We had the first dose of LeVar Ball before he was.
That's when Lonzo was a junior.
Lonzo was a junior, and Daddy Ball.
And he said, "Hey, my son's better than everybody out here."
But here's the situation: nobody said anything.
Because they knew he was right.
They knew he was right.
They knew he was right.
Yeah, and I remember. So backstory. Coach B and I, we host the Inland Empire All-Star basketball
Inland
game.
Valley Classic.
The Inland Valley. What I'm saying is for the Inland Empire.
Right.
Inland Valley. However, and this is only for seniors. Everybody knows this. This is an exclusive senior basketball game. LeVar Ball comes and he brought Jello and he brought
Melo.
No. He only brought the two other ones. He brought Lonzo and Jello over there, and he came in there already, hooping and hollering. We're like, who's this guy talking all loud? And,
right.
And Rome was like, oh God, that's LeVar Ball.
Right.
And obviously Rome knew who he was. We didn't. I didn't
get a chance to meet him. I would have said something to him because I knew his son was going to be the truth.
Yeah, and so I had to tell him because nobody wanted to talk. And I said, look, this is only for seniors.
Right.
And he was looking at me like, what do you mean? My kids, and basketball, you got ego. So when somebody said, hey, my kids, you were senior. Some underclassmen is better than you. Like, wait a minute. Nobody said nothing.
I tell you, if LeVar would have came to me and talked to me, I would have took a jersey from one of them other kids. I said, hey, because like my coach did me with the helmet. I would have said, because the backstories we always joke about it. So when I was in high school playing football, one of Ray Tarver. I never forget Ray's name, and I gotta find Ray and have Ray call in one day. So Ray Tarver was out playing, and he cracked his face mask, and he needed a new helmet. So my coach looked at me and said, "Arrington, give me your helmet." I was like, "His helmet ain't gonna fit mine." And it's like when you growing up with someone, what size shoes are these? You say mine.
Right, exactly. That's a funny backstory. Again, Coach B and he turned around.
It's only funny now because it's
I know it's painful. It's painful.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. I have trauma from that, but you want to laugh about it. Laughing by pain.
But big shout out to my guy Chris Camello. Just shot me a text, man.
My Mello,
my man, good guy out there doing his thing. But like we said, we have a great show coming up. We have our guy from the LA Times going to be calling in. Really excited to talk to him about. We're still trying to figure out what's going to happen sports wise.
Yeah,
here.
There's a huge spike going on right now.
Yeah, a huge spike happening, and we're just trying to a lot of people are. Have been extremely vocal about having and wanting sports back. But one of the things about it is we have to be safe. I mean, we're talking about it's not even just it's one thing in terms of the kids being safe, but one of the things we've seen is that what happens is these kids, they'll contract it. And they may be asymptomatic or what have you, but then they go home and then they spread it to other people, and then then we have a huge situation. So what I do know is I have family who's in the medical industry, and they have told me that there is definitely some issues happening at the hospital. So it's not a game. It's definitely something we should be concerned about.
And that's one thing, like you said, my wife works in a hospital, and that's one of the things when everyone talks about, hey, it's my choice, it's my right. Like they said, you wear a seatbelt,
right? You
stop for red lights.
Yep.
You can wear a mask.
Exactly.
The wife wears a mask for 12 hours.
Yeah. And now with you hop online, you see all those pictures of these first responders and medical folks when they've been wearing that mask for all day. You got all kind of marks.
That's how the wife is. Yeah. They call it mask. There's a name for it. Masny. Like acne.
Wow.
Masny.
Crazy.
Because you're getting acne from the mask. But we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break.
We come back. We got a special guest calling from the LA Times. We're really excited because he has a wealth of knowledge about what's going on. So hopefully he has the keys and he can let us know what's happening in the sports world. But because I know he's always keeping up, so we're gonna talk to our guy from the LA Times to try to see if he can give us some insight on what's going to be happening, especially on a high school level here in Southern California about what's going on with sports.
Because since IE Sportsnet will be on Fox Sports West, that's what we want to drop. So the premiere date. I misquoted last week. I made a mistake. Our premiere is the 29th, not the 22nd. So my mistake. I jumped the gun and got excited. And since Fox Sports West is seen in all of Southern California, we could talk about the Foothill League schools canceling their non-league games.
Yes.
And Eric just broke that. So let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. You're listening to IE Sports Net, presented by ThinkWise Credit Union with Coach B.
And Eternal. When it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts and stops here, live on Fox Sports 1350. We're right back after this.
What's up, world? This is your favorite comic, Tony Rock. And you're checking out Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports.
IE Sportsnet is the longest-running #1 sports talk show originating from the Inland Empire. Every week since 2013, Coach B and Eternal have brought you the best sports coverage from Riverside and San Bernardino counties. In addition to our top-rated show, IE Sportsnet also produces 10 events annually. The Inland Valley Classic All-Star Series, the Riverside Sheriff's Association All-Star Classic Series, and 215 All-Star Classic Series. These events attract over 5,000 spectators. Now is the perfect time to market your brand on one of the world's most recognizable stations, Fox Sports Radio, for as low as $25. That's right, you can advertise with Coach B and Eternal on IE Sportsnet and Fox Sports AM 1350 for as low as $25. Contact our account exec today, staff at iesportsnet.com, or follow up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IE Sportsnet.
We are Fox Sports.
2,000 years ago, we had an empire. Right now, it's being remodeled.
Hi, this is Macho Ronnie. You're live on Fox Sports.
Yes, we are back in the great city of Riverside at the iHeartRadio studios. IE Sportsnet, brought to you by the good folks over at ThinkWise Credit Union, live on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350. I am your host, Eternal.
And I am the one and only Coach B. You know, when it comes to Inland Empire Sports, you know the conversation starts and stops here. We're also streaming at foxsports1350.com and the iHeartRadio app. And beginning on November 29th, we will be seen on Fox Sports West.
Yes, we do. We have a caller calling in on the ThinkWise Celebrity Be Heard hotline. Caller, please introduce yourself to the Fox Sports Radio audience.
Hello, this is Eric Sondheimer from the Los Angeles Times.
Eric, thank you so much for taking out the time out of your busy schedule to call us today. How's everything going out there?
Good. I'm waiting for the sonic booms. They're going to be coming later today when the SpaceX rocket launches from Vandenberg Air Force Base. So be ready for that.
Oh wow, yes, I'm sure that'll be something that we can be looking forward to. Right now, Eric, as you know, California, we're still trying to figure out what's happening for high school sports. I know, you've been a great beacon of light in terms of information, getting that information out, especially kind of like, for us here, just trying to figure out what's happening. What's the last thing you've heard right now in terms of where we are with high school sports?
Well, last week, it was supposed to be announced an update to the youth sports guidelines. Everybody was waiting for it. The governor signed off on it. The health director did, and then we had this surge in COVID-19, and it was postponed. So that was supposed to be the path forward that they had worked for weeks with the CIF to come up with a way, a solution, or at least a path to get going. Probably was going to be based on the color scheme, the tier system that's already in place. For example, if you're in purple, you're in the area where the most COVID cases were still going on, and you probably wouldn't have been able to play football, but at least you would know where you could go.
Right.
And with that being delayed, everybody is basically, it was a bad step because I've already seen a couple of school districts have already announced they're not going to be having school for the spring semester.
Wow.
That is not a good sign. Some of the section commissioners are saying that there's no way they're going to be able to start practices on December 14th as they had hoped to. So it's basically pushing back everything, I think, at least a month. I'm still somewhat optimistic we can get some games in February and March. That would be the plan. That would be league play.
Right.
Now, if we can't get league in, it's over with because the commissioner in the Southern Section, Rob Weigart, has always said that we need to play league games because that's how you can put together a playoff bracket.
Exactly. Now, I mean, obviously, and again, we're talking to Eric from LA Times. We're live on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350 with Coach B and Eternal. Now, what is your gut feeling about this? Because again, like you and I, we know about how big football is just for the school economy. What is your gut feeling about what's going to happen in 2021?
I still think they'll find a way to get some games in. How many? I don't know. The CIF understands how important this is to everybody in the schools, and it's created a conflict that everybody's seen.
Right.
You see these club teams that are trying to put together 11-on-11 football tournament in the middle of a pandemic with very little safety rules versus the high schools that are following all the safety rules.
Right.
So the kids are on much better path to being taken care of if they're working through the high schools. Now, if they can't convince the state people that that's the case, then we're all gone with. I just think that there has to be a way forward. Everybody's working hard, but obviously the science and the vaccines are coming in the spring,
right?
And that's more likely where you'll have those spring teams playing. Football still remains uncertain, but I'm still remaining a little bit optimistic.
Right, and and you're talking about spring sports, and once again, this is Fox Sports 1350. Coach being eternal. We have Eric Steinheimer calling in from the LA Times. Now, one thing that it's exciting, you talk about spring sports, that there's a school that's in the Inland Empire, that has produced 3 top 10 NBA draft picks. Talk to me a little bit about it. You talked about it in your column about Chino Hills and, that team, the undefeated 35-0 team of 2015-16. Talk to me a little bit about the 2 draft picks that we just had in the NBA draft that just passed.
Yeah, LaMelo Ball, obviously, and Onyeka Okongwu were freshmen on the unbeaten team. You could see they had great potential, but physically they were just still freshmen.
Right.
LaMelo was 120 pounds and about 5'8", and he's grown to 6'7".
Yeah.
So he's done what he had to do physically. Okongwu was a great rebounder, and he was doing picks and rolls with Lonzo Ball like they do now in the NBA. So this is a perfect fit for him to go to the NBA. I think both will do well. LaMelo needs, again, to be able to focus. He's got Michael Jordan there to serve as a mentor on the Charlotte team. And so Okongwu's going to the Hawks. So I think both will do very well. But that year, 2016, was one of the most entertaining years that I've ever been to watch a team that was so good. They beat Mater Dei by 48 points. Gary McKnight was the winningest coach ever, and he was in shock after that game.
Right. And you can see that game was personal because Alonzo talked. I guess they beat him pretty bad. Modern Day beat Chino Hills before. And Lonzo, that was a payback game for him, correct?
I don't know if it was, but because the game was over like in the first half. So maybe it was for him, but he was always very low-key, and he said he would never celebrate until they won a championship. And so that last game in Sacramento, when they won the championship, that's when he was smiling.
Yeah.
He was celebrating. He really controlled his emotions back then. But I'll never forget LaMelo, this 14-year-old freshman, right before the start of the state championship game. He's yawning at the jump stop, at the jump there. And that's where I knew that Chino Hills was going to win. Because he is that kind of a relaxing player. It's like part of his life. So he yawned.
That's crazy.
And one thing, this is what I talk about. I said this back then in 2015. When you look at LaMelo's story, LaMelo was supposed to be in the 8th grade, and they moved him up. And I've said personally, I think he's going to be the best of the 3 because he was averaging north of 20 points. And they were playing they played a national schedule that year, so they were playing all the best teams. So a lot of people say, "Oh, well, he was up under his brothers," but still, he still had to go play the ball. He was a primary ball handler. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you agree with me that LaMelo could be the best of the 3?
Yeah, I think he does. I agree with you. I mean, it was a little bit risky, and that's where LeVar, as the father, was really smart. He wanted him to play up. He could have kept him there, but he was 13 years old in August when he was playing summer basketball. I saw his first game, and I was shocked how good he was.
Yeah.
Everybody had told me he was good, but for him to be doing that as a 13-year-old, again, he's made great improvement. Those early years were about scoring, entertaining, with behind-the-back passes, scoring 92 points, and not playing any defense.
Right.
So he's grown up, and like Lonzo, he'll learn how to play defense, and he just has to stay injury-free. Lonzo has been hurt by injuries. LaMelo hopefully can get physical and be able to deal with that. That's what the NBA is about. It's a grind, and he's got to be physically ready to go.
There it is right there. And again, Eric, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking out the time out of your busy schedule. Real quick, and I'll ask you just the last question right now. What do you feel in terms of this first little bit of free agency that we've already picked up, what is your situation about the Lakers and the Clippers? Obviously, the Clippers haven't really been there hasn't been a lot of momentum with the Clippers, but talk about what do you feel like right now about the moves that the Clippers and the Lakers each have made?
Right. Well, right now the Lakers everybody is in awe at what they're doing.
Yeah, I know, right?
To sign the sixth man of the year from the Clippers, to get Matthews, who's a shooter, to get their guard from OKC. I mean, they made all the moves. Yes, Dwight Howard is leaving, but I think that's minuscule compared to these other players they got to fit around LeBron, who's going to be getting a lot of load management to start the year.
Yeah.
So they need players who are going to be able to play well when he's out of there, and I think they've accomplished that. The Clippers, I think everybody's in a little bit of panic mode, but don't worry. Jerry West and the rest of the crew will figure things out. There's plenty of moves they can make to settle down. But, you know, the start of last year was everybody saying the Clippers were going to win the world championship.
Right.
Now it's the Lakers have more talent than them. No question.
Right, crazy about it. Crazy.
And, you know, I've also had to say this with Eric. I just switched over to Spectrum. I saw you on the Spectrum News Channel. Great work. You're going to be taking our job soon. So great work. We really appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. I wish I have a job because we got no high school sports.
I know, no sports. I know. We're all trying to.
9 months.
Right.
Crazy. Eric, thank you so much for taking out the time. Again, keep up the good work. Again, we're always keeping our eyeballs on you. Do great work, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
There it is right there.
Great guy. Amazing work. And I realize who's calling us in. I apologize. I made a mistake on the time. Our guy from Citrus Motors is calling in. So he just texted me. So I just let him know. I'll give him a call in a second, but we'll have him call in. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll coordinate everything on the back end. But Eric Snottenheimer from LA Times.
Yes.
You talk about a great reporter, great work he does. But let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. You're listening to IE Sportsnet, presented by ThinkWise Credit Union with Coach B.
Andy Turner. When it comes to Inland Empire Sports, you know the conversation starts and stops here, live on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350. Yenny.
What's up, world? This is your favorite comic, Tony Rock. And you're checking out Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports.
IE Sportsnet is the longest-running #1 sports talk show originating from the Inland Empire. Every week since 2013, Coach B and Eternal have brought you the best sports coverage from Riverside and San Bernardino counties. In addition to our top-rated show, IE Sportsnet also produces 10 events annually. The Inland Valley Classic All-Star Series, the Riverside Sheriff's Association All-Star Classic Series, and 215 All-Star Classic Series. These events attract over 5,000 spectators. Now is the perfect time to market your brand on one of the world's most recognizable stations, Fox Sports Radio, for as low as $25. That's right, you can advertise with Coach B and Eternal on IE Sportsnet and Fox Sports AM 1350 for as low as $25. Contact our account exec today, staff at iesportsnet.com, or follow up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IE Sportsnet.
Farmers Insurance, the office of Stacey Ann Holgate, is a proud sponsor of Inland Empire Sports. Located in Riverside at 3641 Adams Street, Stacey Ann's office is able to assist you with your financial goals in planning for your future. Her office can also assist you with your business insurance, home, auto, and much more. Give Stacey Ann Holgate's office a call today at 951-977-9899. That's 951-977-9899. And mention Fox Sports AM 1350. Stacey loves her community and the kids in it. She knows they're the future, and investing in them is an investment towards a healthier community. Wouldn't you want to do business with someone who cares about your children almost as much as you do? Contact Stacey Ann Holgate's insurance agency at 951-977-9899 for ways she can help you and your family with all of your insurance needs today. Located at 3641 Adams Street in Riverside, California, Stacey Ann Holgate Insurance Agency. She's on the air because she cares. Give Stacey Ann Holgate's office a call today at 951-977-9899. That's 951-977-9899.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And you know I'm gonna get on Shaq with that picnic table suit.
Yo, this is Ari Spears on Fox Sports Radio.
We are Fox Sports.
we are back in the great city of Riverside at the iHeartRadio studios. IE Sportsnet brought to you by the good folks at ThinkWise Credit Union. Live on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350. I am your host, Eternal.
And I am the one and only Coach B. You know, when it comes to Inland Empire Sports, you know the conversation starts and stops here. We're also streaming at Fox Sports 1350 and the iHeartRadio app. And starting on November 29th, we will be seen in California, Hawaii, and Nevada on Fox Sports West. You know, Eternal, I have, you know, it's funny, my love affair with the Kia automobile began with my wife. She wanted a Kia Optima, so we got her a Kia Optima. And then I came across a deal for a Kia Forte Coupe, which is a 2-door. I gave that to the daughter. And then my daughter said she wants a 4-door, so we ended up getting her a Kia Forte, the 4-door. I got my eye on that Stinger. You know what I mean? But I love Kias. So with that being said,
well, I mean, you almost sound like, you know, you daddy balling over there, man.
Hey, I love Kias, man. I mean, they are so affordable to maintain. That's why I tell my daughter all the time. It's all about the maintenance on the car, you know. And I do all my maintenance at the Ontario Auto Center at Citrus Motors Kia. And I have one of my friends calling in. Who do we have calling in on the ThinkWise Celebrity Credit Union on Fox Sports IE Sports Net?
Caller, go ahead and introduce yourself to the Fox Sports Radio audience. Hello.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
There you go.
There he is. Thank you so much, man, for taking out the time to give us a call. And again, you're live on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350. Just want to make sure that we're speaking to Mr. Matt Landfield. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
There it is right there. Now, before we start, go ahead and let everybody know out here just listening, let them know what you do over at Citrus Motors Kia and Ford.
So I'm the used car director for both the Ford and the Kia store. I'm in charge of, you know, the marketing, merchandising, buying, wholesaling, and generally the whole used car department.
Yes, indeed. Now, we got a chance now, as Coach B mentioned, he is over here whistling.
I'm Mr. Kia.
Yeah, he is like, he might get a Kia tattoo. You might have, I mean, I don't know what you guys did to him over there. But we wanted to have you on because, because again, Coach B said that you are.
Well, what happened is, just to set it up, he and I was at the Kia, at the service department, taking my daughter's car because we just got it and I was getting it serviced. And Matt and I had a conversation and we talked about sports. I mean, his love for sports is identical to ours.
Nice.
And I said, you know what? We need to have you on the show. And he said, well, you know, I work here. I was like, oh, yeah, we need to have you on the show and call in because we want to get the fans' perspective.
No question.
So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to get Matt to the fans' perspective. We talked about, like I said, we showed him, Eternal, don't get upset, but I showed him the IE Sportsnet, the magazine with Coach Logan on the cover. So he's already seen it.
Oh, he's seen it already.
So don't get upset,
Okay.
but he's seen it. So
It's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, man. It's supposed to be like nobody's supposed to see that. But no, talk to us about, I mean, obviously, here on the West Coast, we have been extremely fortunate. The Lakers won, the Dodgers won. As a sports fan, how is it for you right now? I mean, obviously, we're in the pandemic, but how's the sports been? Because here on the West Coast, it's just been nothing but win, baby, win.
Oh, it's truly a blessing. You know, growing up in L.A. and Gardena, there were no Angels, Clippers, or Ducks. It was all Lakers, Rams, Dodgers, and Kings. So my love of L.A. sports goes way back, as you can tell. And I'm excited to see, you know, the Lakers and Dodgers have championships in the same year. And I'm kind of still holding out hope for the Rams. Who knows? They play pretty well. And if they can do something against Brady Monday night, we might have a shot.
There it is right there. Now, talk about this because as fans here, in particular, you know, we have gotten our fanship has gotten bought out by the Clippers. So we're going to say that with full disclosure. But again, we're all Kobe Bryant fans, and obviously we were all devastated by the loss of Kobe Bryant. But talk to us about how special that was, you know, for the Lakers to bring home that championship and do it in a fashion where they can honor Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, you know, as we all found out early that morning, you know, when Kobe passed, that it was going to be a rough year in Laker Nation regardless, and finding out that so many other people passed with him and his daughter-in-law, I don't know if I ever cried so hard in my life. I mean, I obviously don't know any of them, but, you know, the loss of human life is always something that's, you know, horrible and hard to stomach. And my son had texted me, R.I.P. Kobe. I had no idea what was going on.
Right.
And I started looking around, and man, at first I thought it was just him and a couple of guys, but then to find out so many other people were with him, it was a really terrible day. But obviously for AD and LeBron to bring it home and honor Kobe in that respect is huge. And I know that somewhere up there, Kobe's looking down and smiling, and his hand is in the Lakers regardless of the outcome.
Absolutely, and you think about that, it is unfortunate passing. And once again, we have Matt Lenfield from Citrus Motors, Kia and Ford in the Ontario Auto Center calling in, giving us a fan's perspective. And as you mentioned, it's ironic because my son, when the day that Kobe passed, he came into my room and he showed me TMZ, and I said, you can't believe everything on the internet, because nothing was on no one had talked about it, no one had mentioned it, so I didn't want to believe it. And when you talk about that, when LeBron first came to LA, there was a lot of resistance to LeBron because, you know, back in their day, Kobe and LeBron they were serious rivals. They were very competitive against each other, and a lot of Laker fans didn't want to embrace LeBron. But, you know, how excited are you when LeBron came here? And then his first year was a little rough, a little rocky, but he was able to get AD here with him as well, and he was able to get a championship, because every great Lakers superstar has a championship. When you think of Magic, you think of Kareem, you think of Jerry West, Kobe, the list goes on. Every great Laker superstar has a championship. How excited were you that LeBron was able to bring a championship to L.A.?
Well, you know, I think it speaks volumes to the man himself. I mean, obviously, he's won championships in, 3 different cities now?
Yes.
So it's not just him. It's the mystique around him and the idea that he can attract superstars to play with him. Obviously, he's one of the all-time great players ever, but the fact that he can bring in players to play with him and be able to recreate the magic wherever he goes is really, truly special, and obviously a talent that we probably won't see too much in the next couple of years, I don't think.
Absolutely, one of the absolute greatest players to ever play the game, and as you said, he can go from team to team. He brought Cleveland their first championship in some 50 years, and now he brings the LA Lakers a championship. And you know, one thing that Eternal kind of talked about a little bit, as you know. We like to talk about the LA Clippers, so we want to give full disclosure. I am the voice of the Agua Caliente Clippers, the LA Clippers NBA G League team. You know, they've made some moves this offseason. Doc Rivers is now in Philadelphia. Montrezl Harrell is now an LA Laker. What do the Clippers need to do to finally win a championship and bring a ring home to the LA Clippers?
You know, that's a tough question. I mean, I think Ty Lue is going to do a great job. He's obviously, coached championships before, and he was a great player, and I know he's going to be a good coach. I think that's going to be huge for them. Nothing against Doc Rivers. I think he did an incredible job with everything he had to deal with. But I don't know if there's anybody out there right now that they could grab that's going to make them a better team, especially after losing Montrez. I was kind of hoping to see if maybe a Gallinari would come back, but it looks like he's already signed in Atlanta.
Right.
So I don't know who's left out there really to help them. I think they need some help if they lose Lou Williams, too. I mean, they're going to need help defensively. And I still think they need a lights-out shooter, somebody who can really free up the paint for somebody else to be able to score inside. And now that you don't have Montrez, I don't know who they go to in the middle anymore.
Right. There's rumors that Serge Ibaka may be coming, so he would be a great man down in the post to help. But as we said when we started the interview, as you know, I'm the proud owner of 3 Kia vehicles. You and I met at the Citrus Motors Kia dealership in Ontario Auto Center. Your staff has taken such good care of my vehicles, and I love it as a father, and a husband. My wife drives the Kia, my daughter drives the Kia, and you guys always keep us safe and keep us in place. My guy Caesar, I call him Mr. Kia. He knows everything about my Kia vehicle. But what deals do you guys have at Citrus Motors, Kia, and Citrus Motors Ford?
Well, I mean, you should ask. So right now, obviously, Black Friday is a big thing, and we've got 0% across the board on Fords and Kias. So, I mean, this is a time to buy. Right now, it would be, exceptional values. We are very aggressive in our pricing. I do the trade-ins. I'm very generous with the trade-ins. We have a sales staff that's paid on hourly as opposed to commission. So it's no pressure, no haggle. You come in, get your car, leave. It's almost like, going to the grocery store and buying a loaf of bread. It's none of this protracted, 3 hours of getting beat up by somebody trying to, get every last dime out of you. It's a family-run store. It's a third-generation store. The owners are some of the best people I've ever worked for. I've been around long enough to have seen my share of good and bad dealerships, and these people take care of their employees as well as they take care of their customers. So from top to bottom, Caesar included the sales staff, the service staff, the people in the office, the techs, everybody there has been there a long time. I mean, there's plenty of people that have been here 20 and 30 years, and a ton of people have been there 10 years, and I'm hoping they'll make that cut too. But they are a wonderful organization. Like I said, it's a third-generation store. It's not a big corporate store where everybody's, having to do certain things that the corporation sets up. They're more a relaxed mom-and-pop type store, but a bigger mom-and-pop type store. So, I mean, they give you personal attention, and they definitely take care of their customers. And like you're saying, our service department is second to none.
Absolutely. So once again, we want to thank you so much for calling in, Matt Landfield. He is the used car sales director. We want to definitely say thank you for taking the time to speak with us. We appreciate it. As our guy Buck Maggart would say, remember, Citrus Motors Kia has an amazing selection of Kias with over 300 new units on the ground. This includes the new Kia Telluride, the Kia Stinger, as well as the all-new K5, which I really want to see. But don't forget about Citrus Motors Ford. They also have some exciting news. They will soon be welcoming the new Mach-E all-electric Mustang SUV. I can't wait to see that. As well as the famed Bronco. It will be back. The new 2021 is being redesigned and will soon start arriving to the dealership in December. That's just next month. Citrus Motors Kia and Citrus Motors Ford prides itself on top-notch customer service. And remember, at Citrus Motors, like you said, Matt, no pressure means a great deal. Visit them at citrusmotors.com. That's citrusmotors.com. Or go to the Ontario Auto Center. I am a personal client. I love the service department. You and I had such a great conversation. Our conversation was so good. I said, we got to get you on Fox Sports AM 1350. As I mentioned, you guys, you have serviced all three of my Kias. And I said, I am a father. My wife drives the Kia. My daughter drives the Kia. And I know when I take it to your dealership, you guys are not going to sell me something I don't need. And I have my eye on that Stinger, man. You have my commitment. I have another son that needs a Kia. So I have 2 more Kias I got to get. So I definitely will be back. And we want to make sure that we get over to Citrus Motors Kia. Thank you so much for taking the time to call in this morning.
Oh, no, thank you, Brian. And thanks for giving the shout out for the store. We do try our hardest to make everybody happy. And if you want to stop by this weekend or anytime in the near future, we have those Black Friday sales and a bunch of really top quality certified used cars that we could definitely help you with, or your family, or anybody who's interested in a new Kia, Ford, or a pre-owned.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, Brian. Hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day.
Absolutely.
And, have a good show.
Absolutely. And tell my guy Buck I said we appreciate this for calling in.
You bet. We appreciate you. We appreciate the shout out, and love our IE sports. And any time I have a chance to discuss them with you, I'm more than happy to.
Oh, we're going to take you up on that. We have it on tape, so we appreciate it. So that is a great interview right there. As I mentioned, Eternal, that was one of those things. I was just sitting there taking my car to get serviced, and I was and he and I, Matt Landfield, we just started having a conversation, and we just started talking, and it was so natural, it was so organic. I said, you know what? Would you mind calling into Fox Sports 1350 to talk some sports? But go ahead. Let's take a commercial break. We will be right back on Fox Sports 1350. You are listening to IE Sportsnet, presented by our friends at ThinkWise Credit Union with Coach B.
And Eternal. When it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts and stops here live on Fox Sports 1350. Yes, we are back in the great city of Riverside at the iHeartRadio studios. IE Sportsnet brought to you by the good folks over at ThinkWise Credit Union. IE Sportsnet on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350. I am your host, Eternal.
And I am the one and only Coach B. You know, when it comes to Inland Empire Sports, you know the conversation starts and stops here. We're also streaming at foxsports1350.com, the iHeartRadio app. And starting on November 29th, we will be on Fox Sports West. Can I say that one more time, Eternal?
Yes, go ahead, man.
Starting on November 29th, we will be on Fox Sports West. Everybody in the Inland Empire, don't worry. We're going to take the Inland Empire with us when we make that transition to Fox Sports West.
Yes, indeed. We do have a caller calling in on the ThinkWise Celebrity Be Heard hotline. Caller, you're calling in on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350. Please introduce yourself to the Fox Sports Radio audience.
Hi, everybody. This is Larry Gonzalez. I'm the Chief of Police of Riverside Police Department.
There it is right there. Mr. Gonzalez, thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time. I know you're extremely busy, and we do appreciate you taking out the time to talk to us a little bit today. First things first, how you doing out there?
I'm doing okay. We're, dealing with all the issues in 2020, but as far as the city of Riverside, we're moving along okay.
Indeed. Now, you have a unique story because not only are you the Chief of Police in this great city of Riverside, but you have a sports background. The Dodgers just recently came out and they won the chip and haven't won that chip. I mean, what year was that, Coach B?
1988. I was in the 8th grade. I was a young lad.
Kirk Gibson. I mean, I still remember the great Kirk Gibson home run. I mean, that's part of the fabric here on the West Coast. But you're unique because you have a pitching background. Talk to our audience a little bit about your part because you actually made it to the bigs, and so talk to us, our audience, about your process in terms of you being a pitcher and how far you've gotten.
Well, I was not in the big leagues. I'll clarify that. You made me feel really old when you said you were in 8th grade the last time they won the World Series.
You made it AAA. I mean, to me, that's the bigs.
I was a minor leaguer. I was a single-A pitcher from 87 to 91.
Okay.
I got drafted. I was an 11th round draft pick by the Dodgers in 87. So I think I've talked about my minor league career more in the last couple months than I have in the last 20 years, just because the Dodgers won. The last time they won, I was actually employed by them.
Wow! Think about that.
In the minor leagues.
Yeah. Now, you have this unique story because you're local in terms of Inland Empire, but because you went to, if I'm correct, you went to high school at Don Lugo. Is that correct?
Correct. Don Lugo High School.
Yeah. So I mean, so clearly your motive was to play baseball. Talk to us how you went from baseball pitching to now being the Chief of Police.
Well, I got drafted in 87. I was still 17 years old, and at the time, my mother wasn't going to let me sign. She hasn't signed a contract with me, because I wasn't 18 yet. But when the Dodgers actually ended up drafting me, it was like, wow, what are the chances of your home team drafting you? So
right.
I played, and I got released from them in 90, and then I signed with the Tigers in 91. When I got released with Detroit, I thought, it's crazy. At 21 years old, I thought, man, I'm old. I need to find a real job. So, my stepfather was a police officer. He was a lieutenant with the Anaheim Police Department. I always found it interesting, intriguing, because you've grown up, you always think, well, I'm just going to be a big league baseball player.
Right.
And then when that doesn't happen, and people ask, what happened? Did you get hurt? I said, nope. It's just a tough business, man,
right,
to make it. But I wanted to find something challenging, something that's very similar to sports, and that is police work. It really is. There's so many similarities between playing sports and being a police officer. The camaraderie's there. You grow up in locker rooms. You get back to the locker room again. Like I said, it's competitive sometimes. You want to do, and it's something different every single day.
And your story is very unique to mine. We do the IE Heroes, and we want to humanize police officers and show them you're humans just or you're people just like you and me. And your story is unique to mine because my stepfather was a police officer, and I was exposed to the world of being a police officer. To me, growing up, he was just my stepfather. And that's one of the things that people just have to know. But there is a great story about you. You started off as an officer, and you're the first inside chief. You worked your way up to being a chief from a officer. It took 20 years, but you were an officer and you worked your way up to the chief. Talk to us about that story.
Yeah, that was unique. The last 20 years we've had outside chiefs come in, and you know what? It all depends on where the department is at that time, and probably rightfully so. We needed outside chiefs at certain times. The last chief, Sergio Diaz, left this. I think he left his department in really good shape, so it allowed me to have the opportunity to step in to be the chief. And that isn't always the case. You know, if your department's in turmoil, or there's some drama going on in your city, then they're going to look for a change. They're going to need, to change the culture, be a change agent, so to speak. And in this case, like I said, it was left in good hands, I think, with me being there. But it had a lot to do with the preceding chiefs. So.
Absolutely, and that's a good thing to know about your story, because what we love, and I know you said sometimes you need outside people to come in, but how has the people, because you're local, you went to school in Chino, you're from the Inland Empire, how have local, because a lot of people who live in the area, they want to give back to their community, and they work in law enforcement, and they want to be local. How has the force embraced you, being a local guy that's worked his way up?
Well, I think the community was a huge part of it. Being a part of the community, I live in the city. I've spent my whole adult life at Riverside PD. So when it came time for the chief position, I felt like I had a lot of support, not only from the community, but from within, with the troops. And I tell people all the time, on a daily basis, I'm drawing on all 28 years of experience that I got to get through each day. It's like, you're not necessarily the smartest guy in the world to become chief, that's for sure. But the experiences are invaluable, and I draw on those quite a bit.
Yeah, indeed. Now, one of the unique things, and I know you didn't get a chance to learn this, but one of the reasons we had you on the show today, because you were selected for this week's IE Hero. Now, the way this works, and this is a unique situation, the way this works, Chief, is the people vote every week. So like last week, a young lady won. She was the San Bernardino sheriff. She won. And this week, however, you were nominated. And what we're hearing is that the nomination was just based on, because, I guess, and you could kind of tell us more about this, the review board, you go through some kind of review board in terms of you being vetted to become an actual police chief. Talk to our audience a little bit about that process, because you have to get in front of a lot of community boards and in front of a lot of people and kind of let them know what you're going to be doing and what your plans are. So let our audience know about how that process goes in terms of how you have to kind of articulate your position to the community.
Well, first of all, I didn't know about the nomination. Thank you. It's an honor. I'm kind of surprised, but thank you. As far as the selection process, I think I counted, by the time it was over, I probably did 8 different interviews.
Wow.
Each of them were about an hour each, and the big one was a day we had 3 different panels of anywhere from 8 to 12 people on the panel.
Wow.
And it's just one after the other. And then the next round would be, a smaller panel of internal folks, maybe city department heads and the city managers. And then the final 2 were just me and the city manager, talking about what my vision is and where I want to lead this department and take us. We talked a lot about 21st century policing model and moving the department forward. So it was a lengthy process. I tease. I was telling my city manager when they first opened up, the position was open, I thought, do we really have to go through this whole
all over again?
Search? I'm ready to go, man. You want to say that, but now that it's over, I feel like it's something that needed to be done. It's something that he can say and I can say that they truly did do a nationwide search, and I was the fit for the department.
Fantastic. And again, congratulations on that.
And that was one thing that I was going to say. Talk to us about your old catcher. I hear that he's doing something special as well. Isn't that something?
Yeah, what's funny is that baseball card, back in the day when they get a baseball card, my card and his card, they put up on a bulletin board and say, what happened here, who did better in their career. But, Mike Piazza, he was I played with him in '88. He was my roommate that year in Salem, Oregon. And, he started off, so it's true that his father and Tommy Lasorda were childhood buddies.
Right.
So, and I tell people, they say, oh, well, he made it because Tommy Lasorda. So you can get hooked up and get signed with a friend, but you can't get hooked up if you put in the big league.
Exactly.
You can get signed as a free agent or something and let you get in, but you have to prove yourself. And he came out that year in '88 where he was like the Sunday catcher. You'd catch after, a night game on. He'd play once a week, and then he started hitting some pretty incredible home runs. And then he said, "Oh, we'll throw him in on Tuesday," and then he quickly took over and just he became what he became. So.
Right,
Great stuff.
Indeed, right there. Well, again, Chief, we thank you so much. Congratulations on your selection. And again, let me tell you something. You have a great group of folks that work around you. They have been really, really on top of it, making sure they gave us your picture and gave us all the information on you. But again, like I said, everything we've heard about you has just been really positive. So keep up the good work. I mean, we desperately need that here in Riverside. Obviously, you know that more than I do. But again, thank you so much. And again, congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you both, and thank you for having me, and have a good weekend and holiday.
There it is right there again.
And you're a Riverside native, Eternal. What does that mean to you?
Well, no, that's a great thing. I mean, you have the police, the chief of police being a local guy from the area, and and has a sports background, which is always great.
Absolutely, and we do have one. Our IE Emperors. We had some technical issues, but IE Emperors. Who do we have calling into the ThinkWise Credit Union Celebrity Hotline? Hello. Is our caller still there?
We had him. We had
him on the call, and that's why I was telling our guy Kevin. We had him calling in, so I think is he there? Are you there?
There we go. Here we go. Caller, you there?
For some reason, we cannot hear him. We're trying to get him. We're trying to get him on, and he's calling in, and we're trying to see if he can call. Every single time he calls in, for some reason, we can't hear him.
Yeah.
We apologize. We'll work it out. And I'll get what I got, Kevin, from the IE Emperors.
Well, what we want to make sure we let everybody know is we have the new the video is going to be coming out. We had a really great time at their recent events called the ABA Jump Off. There was 3 different games. The Coach B and I, we did we called all 3 of the games. One of the games in particular featured the IE Emperors, a new ABA team that's out of here locally. And it's really, really unique because they're giving people a chance to play basketball and give them some real good tape, great competition, and then it gets you kind of prepared to see if you're gonna if you can evolve and go to the next level. So it's a great thing. But we want to make sure we thank everybody today for the call. I know we had some technical issues today, but thank everybody for bearing with us. We had Eric Sotomayor, calling in from the LA Times.
Right.
Then we also had your guy calling in from Citrus Motors, right?
Right. Absolutely. And then what we absolutely, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to talk about the ABA. I know we're pressed up against the clock. We got about a minute or so. But if you're, we tried to get, our guy tried to call in, Kevin from the IE Emperors, who was just texting me. But we'll work it out. We'll get him in next week for sure. And we'll make sure we get that rectified because we're going to be out and about at the ABA event. They're doing an event again in November. So we will be there. The Inland Empire Emperors will be taking on the Chula Vista Suns. We saw the Chula Vista Suns. We saw them last time.
May have had the best uniforms that we saw. Really, I mean, those guys have some really, really nice uniforms. So again, big shout out to our guy Kevin over at that ABA doing some great things. We'll make sure we get that video is going to be posted today, so you can get a chance to check it out. We also have the social media video that's available. Big shout out to the chief of police from Riverside. Again, thank you so much for making out the time to call us today.
He's the IE hero.
Yes, and was selected as this week's IE hero. If you guys want to select a first responder or a teacher, please make sure you do that. Reach out to us at IE Sportsnet. Again, everything is at IE Sportsnet. You can reach out to us, and that way we'll hook everything up. Coach B.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to IE Sportsnet, presented by our friends over at ThinkWise Credit Union. They also present the IE Hero, so we thank them for doing that. Make sure you go to thinkwisecu.org to get some information from them. I am the one and only Coach B.
And Eternal, when it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts and stops here live on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350. Remember, you can log on and check us out every Saturday. We're on the iHeartRadio app or available online. Check us out, again, IE Sportsnet on Fox Sports Radio, AM 1350.